and put them towards, all the problems here on Earth in our realm. Okay. These are cartoons that we're spending billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in resources and time and energy and focus, right? People want to go to Mars to build the dome, to live in the dome where there's no air, there's no water, or maybe there's water, they're saying, which is all nonsense. Why would you want to do that? Like, well, we have to get off this planet, because if this planet died, well, this planet, this isn't a planet. Why don't you just build it in Ethiopia in the desert? Why don't we build a gigantic multi-dome system? We could do that for a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a penny to their billions of dollars, right? It's all complete nonsense. It's mind control, and they don't want the population to get too big to challenge their authority. Who are they, right? They don't want us to challenge their authority, so they do what I call, or what they're calling, the Great Reset. Who are they? These are they. These are the people that run the world, the Bilderberg Group, the Council of Foreign Relations, the Club of Rome, the United Nations. These are the people that we know that run the world. There's probably secret societies above them, people that live on other lands that we don't have access to.
And, but the concept of the round, like it being round, right? Like, obviously they're doing it for mind control, and it all connects into all of these things. But is there a specific point why they chose to say it's round then?
Versus- well, I call it the Helio Sinister trick. And it's this is a, excuse me, this is a spiritual war, and they're trying to steal your soul. And the wordplay I use is the soul lure system. Okay. They want to separate your connection to source, to God, to the creator.
Right.
They want to separate that, because if you're separated from that, I did an interview yesterday with a guy that's an atheist. And let me tell you something. I used to be an atheist, or at least I didn't believe in a creator. I believed in evolution. I believed in the whole thing. And when I discovered the earth is flat, not the shape, but I understood that it was intelligently designed, I had to come to the knowing that there's a creator. Okay. So there's a creator, there's a source, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has different names for it. I'm fine with all of them. But as long as you know that you're at the center of creation, that matters. So when I was talking to this atheist, he couldn't see anything. He's like, well, what? It doesn't really matter to me. It's like, it doesn't matter that you're in a prison. It doesn't matter that your rights are being taken away. It doesn't matter that you're not being allowed to flourish. It doesn't matter that they're robbing you every single day for your labor. It doesn't matter that they're hiding the true beauty of this world from you. All of this stuff. It goes on and on and on.
Right, but I don't know that people see the connection as to why this particular topic has been, why they've been deceiving us on this particular topic and how that relates. Like, I don't know that everybody makes the connection. And by the way, so yes, it's about separation from our soul. In fact, that's what the Jabberdoodle's all about. Like, right. It's literally designed to disconnect us from our God-given DNA and blah, 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 blah. Right. So, but correct. I think it being round, I heard something about the ball, like somehow that's a Satanist concept or something.
It is a satanic concept. And if you look at all of the numbers, we're tilted at 23.4 degrees, which is 66.6 degrees off of 90. Okay. We're orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Okay. At 100 miles, there's 6,666 feet of curvature. Okay. There's too many of these coincidences that happen. This is all a satanic construct. And so if this is our world, okay, this is where we live. This is the shoreline of Antarctica that goes all the way around. What's out here in the outer space, right? And what they did is, rather than letting us see what could be out there, they wrapped us onto a ball. And basically they said, that's it. Antarctica is a continent at the bottom, rather than the shoreline that surrounds us.
Interesting. So what I wonder is how they've deceived all of these pilots, and my brother's an air traffic controller, and I don't, how have they deceived all of them? I guess I guess they're only seeing a certain portion of it as they fly over, or.
Yeah. So an air traffic controller is just looking at a screen and, and is told that the earth is so big that you can't see the curvature. And, that's a reasonable thing to believe. And that's it. Airplanes fly straight and level over the earth plane. And pilots, most of them don't see. The plane takes off, they get it up to cruising altitude, they turn the knob to 1970, they press it, and then they read a book or play cards until the control tells them to turn it to another number, right? And then they land the plane, and that's it. Okay, so they're not thinking. No one's bringing a globe in there to check, to like, oh, we're going from here to here, let me look on a globe. They don't use that. They use the AE map. They use this map right here, or one closer to that. So I'm trying to find a map as I'm speaking.
It's a cool animation. Somebody mentioned that in the chat, and I did see something about, like, there's different type, like they use projection to try to take the globe and make it flat, and that then it distorts the continents. And
and again, our map isn't perfect, but this is the map that they actually use for they actually use it for navigation. Okay, so we don't use a globe. I'm trying to. I have a great map that I wanted to show you, and of course, I don't know where the heck it went. So, why I'm looking for that? We could look at some flight routes, right? Now, if we're on a globe, right? If you're looking at a globe, the equator is right around the belt, the middle. Anything in the top is the north. Anything on the bottom is the south. So if you're going from any two destinations in the north, you would never cross the equator, right? You would just go boom, 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 right? And,
right.
and same thing in the south, but that's not the case. In the south, if you go from Santiago to Australia, you go all the way up across the equator, across and down. And if you want to go to Western Australia, it goes all the way across to China, Singapore, and down. And if you look at it on a flat Earth map, it's a straight line all the way up and across, right? If I want to go over here, Singapore, China, United States, all the way south. This is the route that they take when they're doing multiple stops, but it's a straight line on a flat Earth, right? And then there's many, many, many emergency landings that happen where the plane has to land in a weird place. Like this one landed in Seattle when it should have just been going over to New York. But when you look at it on a flat Earth map, bam, Seattle, right there on the line, right? And NASA is in charge of all of the flight routes, the radar, everything. So when these happen, they quickly land somewhere, and sometimes the pilots figure it out. We talked to many pilots, especially the Qantas pilots. They all know the Earth is flat, but they can't talk about it publicly, or they lose their jobs.
Who would lose their jobs?
A pilot that comes out and says the Earth is flat loses their job, grounded immediately. We've interviewed one from KLM, and she was fired the next day, or grounded at least.
Yeah.
So here, there's an emergency, and they landed in Alaska. But if you look at it, Alaska is right along the line, right? Dallas to Beijing. Oh, no, sorry, not Alaska. Calgary. Landed in Calgary.
So, what's coming to mind to me is I'm thinking about just all the things that were considered conspiracy. And I remember the towers.
In New York?
Yeah, that when that actually happened, I was a dean of a college, and I haven't watched mainstream media in over 20 years. For some reason that morning I turned the TV on, and I saw it happen. And I remember looking at it going, oh, that's not real. I mean, I saw it on mainstream media and I'm like, yeah, that's not real. And I turned the TV off and I went to work and I was the only one there. I'm like, what's going on today? Why isn't anybody at the office? Like, why?
Yeah.
And anyway, so here we are. I don't know.
Were you in New York?
No, I live in Las Vegas.
Okay. So
but I remember like thinking, well, that's not really real. And then now I don't know, over 20 years. When did that happen?
2001, 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Now I'm seeing like some of the scientists, I guess they came out before, but saying, hey, the way the buildings actually fell isn't like that wouldn't make sense the way the planes hit it. And
well, do you know how many buildings fell in New York on 9/11 and how many planes supposedly crashed in New York on 9/11?
I don't.
Yeah, 2 planes hit 2 buildings and
Right.
seven buildings collapsed. 7 buildings, not just building 7. Yeah, 7 buildings collapsed. All right, and 5 of them were not hit by airplanes. Not everybody, but most people that are starting to look into this know about Building 7 fell at free fall speed of 5:20 in the afternoon. They announced that it was going to fall 20 minutes before it fell, or 23 minutes before it fell. That's impossible. It's never happened before. Their script came out. And the reason that happened, in my opinion, is the Flight 93 that crashed in Shanksville, supposedly. I don't believe any planes crashed anywhere on 9/11, was supposed to fake hit Building 7. Okay? But something went wrong with the simulation. They couldn't do it. So they fake crashed it at a last minute. And their story there is ridiculous. But they still had to take down Building 7. So they had to pretend that it was burning, and maybe they started some fires, and then it fell into its own footprint of free fall speed. On top of that, Building 6, 10-story high, full city block. The entire inside of the building disappeared. The outside of the building remained. What happened there? The inside of the building disappeared. Did it collapse because there was no debris in there? It disappeared. You want to know what happened?
Yes.
I want to know what happened too. I don't know.
I
know that they're lying to us about everything.
Yeah.
So again,
that's kind of my point, is why I wanted you to come on, because it's like, I know there's so many things they've lied to us about. So what makes us believe this is
for anybody that wants to, and we have to be careful on YouTube. Anybody that wants to learn about the New York event, anyone who wants to learn about the Connecticut school event, the Sandy one. If anyone wants to know about the marathon in Massachusetts or any of the other big things, Las Vegas, you want to learn about the Florida, you want to learn about it, it's all at stoplookthink.com. This is stuff that used to be on YouTube, but YouTube has removed it all. Stoplookthink.com. Drop the hoax menu down and have a feast. I highly recommend anybody that's offended that I mentioned that the Connecticut Sandy event is not what they say it is. We'll just say that here on YouTube. If you're offended, it's because you're mind controlled with news media stories. Go there, drop down that menu, watch a half a dozen of the documentaries that are on there, and then you too will know that the Connecticut event is not what they tell us.
What is it again? Stop, look, think?
Stop, look, think. Stop, look, think. That's it. Yeah. Stoplookthink.com.
Awesome. Brilliant. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the Buzz Aldrin. And I actually had the video. It's on YouTube still, where he was on Conan. I don't know, whoever the late night guy is. And he says, oh, yeah, I saw you land on the moon. And Buzz Aldrin says, no, you didn't.
Right. Yeah. So he's like, I saw you. I don't have sound right now because there's a OBS is fighting with Macintosh. I don't want to talk about it. Well, I'll figure it out. If anybody knows how to fix the OBS Macintosh issue with sound, hit me up. So he's like, I saw you land on the moon. And he goes, no, you didn't. You saw an animation. That's like taking it to the next level. He could have said you saw a video,
right
after. He said you saw an animation.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So what, what's up with Buzz anyway? He's still around, right?
Well, he changed his name to Buzz and became a drunk. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and here he is on the on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What's he doing there? And if you look, all of the astronauts that went to the moon have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Why do the astronauts showing their little symbol? Okay,
you all know what that symbol is, right?
That's
the
yeah, it's 666, whatever. Yeah. And someone will take the clip of me doing that and call me a Satanist. Trust me.
Oh, geez. Yeah. But yeah, I also heard that he's a Freemason anyway, and
they're all Freemasons. All the astronauts, actronauts, I call them, are Freemasons. And then you have people like Joe Rogan, who was really this was early on in his career, he was taking the moon landing apart, getting a huge audience, and his quote is, "There's no way you can convince me that we went to the moon and they faked it," right? Then he went on a little vacation, and then he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on. He got this big TV contract. Joe Rogan explores everything, making tens of millions of dollars. And he changed his side. He goes, "There's no way we faked it." Okay. Literally, they paid him off. That we have video of him saying he'd lie to his mother, right? For insights and stuff. And they
paid Joe Rogan off to shut up.
No, they paid him to stop debunking the moon landing and to claim that it's real. All right. The guy, he said, "There's no way we didn't go to the moon." And now they said, "There's no way it was a hoax. There's no way." Right. It's the biggest reversal, the biggest flip flop, whatever you want to call it ever. Joe Rogan sold out.
Is that 100%. On that website too? Because I want to see that. That's interesting.
No, that actually isn't, but
Yeah, but that's definitely interesting. I mean, it's surprising how many people have just been able to be bought off.
Right. And Hollywood is just a big green screen studio. They're literally making fun of us. There's, they have these images of, these models of a planet, and then they film it, and then they just add their spaceships and everything else they want. It's complete and total nonsense.
So, right? What year was it when we went to the moon? Wasn't that in the
late 60s and 70s? Okay. All under Nixon, all of them.
Okay, so at that point, because Kennedy was the one that initially wanted to go to the moon, right?
So they say. So he said. So they say.
Oh, so they say. Okay, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, no, he did. Yeah. He's the one like, we're gonna go. Now the question is, did he know what the hell he was talking about? Was he convinced that we can go to the moon, or is he all part of it? At this point, I'll say he was all part of it. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Who knows? I mean, he's also the one that said, that something about the secret societies, that we didn't want that. And he was anti the secret society. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then when you look at stuff on the moon, like you look up, we see stars from Earth. This is space from Earth. And then this is space from space. They can't fake it. So they just give us a black sky and they tell us, well, the iris on the camera, it can't detect the light, right? It's because space doesn't exist, right? Space doesn't exist.
Well, does that mean that we're the only planet? Are we in a simulation? What's really going on here, Dave? I want some answers.
So the Earth, the Earth is the basement of the universe. Okay, that's how I describe it. And everything that we see in the sky is here within the Earth system. Now, when you look up and go, "Oh yeah, there's Mars and Venus," all the planets were lined up the other night, by the way. And when you see them, you have pictures from Disney and NASA. There's no difference between the two of these rocky worlds, when in fact they're just lights, energetic lights here within our realm. We don't know how big they are. We don't know how far they are. We don't know anything about them other than there's lights in the sky.
So, so we don't know then if there's other planets, but then then I guess that brings up the question of aliens, right? Because
aliens. So good one. So aliens coming from other planets. So think about this. Aliens coming from other planets. Well, those planets have to be going around a star. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Okay. Now, if you get in, I'm not going to get into it here, but if you get into the math of that, the brightness and the size of the star would be impossible. You could not see a star 25 trillion miles away, and that's the closest star to us. That's the closest one to us. Okay. Our sun, they say, is an average size star. If the sun was literally a mile over your head, it would fill the whole sky, right? And if I moved it 93 million miles away, where they tell us it's the size of a coin, it went from the entire sky to the size of a coin held at arm's length. And if I made it 25 times farther, there's no way you can see it. Even if I made it twice as far, I don't think you can see it. But 25 times farther is like 3 light hours. The distance, the sun, if it was 25 times the distance, it would take 3 hours for the light to get here, according to their scientific nonsense. Okay? They tell us Polaris is 433 light years away. Okay? We can't see the sun at 3 light hours away. And they're telling us that we can see a star 433 light years away. These are unfathomable numbers. Okay? 25 trillion miles, you can't even fathom it. You're like, well, yes, I can. The debt's more than $25 trillion, right? You don't know what a trillion is, okay? People don't know what a trillion is other than the people that listen to me all the time, and I'm going to say it again, okay? How long is 1 trillion seconds? You have any idea?
No.
I
have to do the math.
It's 31,000 years.
Okay.
1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So if you were traveling a mile per second, which no human has ever gone, it would, in a trillion seconds, you'd be 1 trillion miles away. Okay. And that would make you 1/25th of the way to the closest star. And it would have taken you 31,000 years to get 1/25th of the way to the closest star. Does any of this make any sense to you?
Yeah.
So then somebody has to get in a spaceship, fly through space to catch an Earth that's corkscrewing through an infinite universe, get here and crash in Roswell. Okay? That's ridiculous. But I'm not going to take aliens away from you. I'm going to take the word.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, right? A whole nother topic.
I'm not taking aliens away from you. I'm changing the name to extraterrestrials. Now, extraterrestrials, wait, that's the same thing. Well, no, look at the words. Alien is I think, the word alien might refer to spirits and demons and stuff in that realm, which I can't prove. Okay. But extraterrestrial, extra means what? More. Terrestrial, terra is land, more land. Okay. Extra terra. What if the world is set up like this? Here we are in this inner space.
Okay.
Then this ring here is Antarctica. And then out here is extra terra.
Okay.
More land. Now, let me ask you a question. If you lived out here and you came in here, what would I consider you?
An extraterrestrial.
From where?
From outside of the...
From outer space.
Yeah.
From the outer space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What makes more sense to you? That there's more land here across the Earth realm within our pressurized air system where we're all here. I bet there's people out here and they speak English. Okay. There's a book called The Iron Republic. It's available in my app. It's available on Amazon, and it's also available on if you Google the Iron Republic, the Morgile. It's on the Morgile channel. He read the whole book. If you don't want to read, if you want to listen to it while you're traveling, commuting, or whatever, listen to it. It's a 5-hour book, and it talks about some politician that bought a ship, sold everything, was tired of the nonsense here, and he went to Antarctica and he found an opening, and he ended up at the Iron Republic out here. And there was a whole advanced civilization here that had defected from the inner Earth in the 1600s because they didn't like the tyranny. Could you imagine tyranny here in our world? Okay, and they didn't like it, so they went out to more land. So why the globe? Why put us in a prison? Because what if some crap was going on and people are like, you know what, screw this, I'm leaving. Well, no one's going to say that because they don't know there's any place to go to. It's off limits. Okay, no one's allowed to go to Antarctica. Right? I mean, you can go. You can take a trip to Antarctica. They'll take you here to this little this little peninsula, which is gigantic. It's bigger than some countries. And they'll show you some penguins, and that's it. No one's allowed to explore the outer space. No one's allowed to explore out here. No one's allowed to go out here.
Like that guy that slipped through. How do they?
What guy to slip through?
The one in that book that you talked about.
Oh yeah, that was back in the late 1800s. And then so now they've made Antarctica off limits in the 1950s. They came up with the Antarctic Treaty, and they said that's everyone, in 1959. They say the story is Admiral Byrd flew out there, found more land bigger than the United States, filled with resources, right? We're all fighting wars over resources and all sorts of stuff with all these countries. But then all of a sudden, hey, we found a place filled with resources, gigantic. No human has ever set eyes upon it. And then they're like, oh, no. Treaty, no one can go there. No one can go there, right? A dozen countries signed on, and now they've all signed on. All the countries of the world have signed this treaty that no one is allowed to go there. Now, you're going to get advertisements like, oh, Antarctic, you can go you can go there for $10, $20, $30, $40,000 for like 3 days, right? There's like 15 companies that you can book with, but they're all owned by the same company. It's all just a big controlled nonsense, and no one's allowed to go there.
So wait, so if they get to Antarctica, then you could slip out? Is that the...
Well, if you get there, well, first, Antarctica is brutally cold and dark. There's no way to navigate. There's no food. There's nothing. So even if they let some people go there, you probably end up killing yourself, lost in the dark, freezing to death. Okay. But maybe there's other areas of Antarctica that are warmer, that are even tropical. I don't know. I don't know the setup because we're not allowed to go there. Anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation. But what's there? What's there? And people like, well, show me the ice wall. Well, there's millions of pictures of the ice wall. There's video of the ice wall. It's the shoreline. Antarctica, they tell us, is the highest land on Earth. It's the container of our world pond. All of the oceans of the world make a big pond, and without an edge, you don't have a pond. Well, this is the edge of our world. This is Antarctica. And what's out there? Who knows how far it goes? Who knows how far it goes?
I think we should go take a trip. How do we survive this? I want to go check this out.
So here's the thing. You can in my app. Fix this. In my app.
These guys. So okay, go with your app, and then
yeah. So in my app, if you hit the question mark and you go to Antarctica and the 24-hour sun, okay, click that puppy right there, and up comes a playlist. And the third, where is it? Somewhere in here. Sorry, Antarctica is closed. That's done by one of our researchers who's a lawyer. It's about a 35-minute video, and it will show you what it takes to go to Antarctica. It costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars in permits. You'll get denied. They keep your money, and you won't be able to go. But he shows you and did all the work for you. Amazing amount of research, but all sorts of information about Antarctica and what's possibly out there. It's highly, very, very interesting.
What's the name of your app again? Because I went to go download it the other day. I need to go download it.
You do need to go download it. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. Right, you can just scan this right here if you have a camera on your phone. Just make sure on Android it's by Blue Water Bay, because there's already a knockoff by the Flat Earth Society type people, and that's not my app. And check it out because it will save you tons and tons of time. Right, and if you don't want to buy the app's $3. There is a subscription if you want to use the friend finder to send messages, but you don't have to subscribe. So $3 once and you have it forever. But on the friend finder, which I just clicked, it shows you all of the other flat earthers that are near you. These are the flat earthers that are near me. Okay. And I could tap on one and I could send that person a message, or I could tap on, let's say my radius, I have it set to 50 kilometers. There's 244 people. I could send them all a message. Hey, I'm having a meetup at Joe's Bar and Grill on 123 Main Street on Saturday. Yes. And bam, now you've just connected yourself with awesome people. Nice work.
I'm totally in. I got you. So, but it brings up another point. Can you see my lighting in the background in my screen?
I can.
You can? Yeah. You see those lights there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Buzz Aldrin thing, right? Do you have the picture where his mask, you can see the reflection that it's like something's in the background? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, on the reflection in his visor where you can see a cameraman.
Yes.
Right. I just realized I wasn't showing you on these
Oh.
are all the dots in my area.
Yeah.
So, and I could message those people, and I could send a group message to everybody within a specific radius. I could do all sorts of stuff, and it's a great way for people to meet up.
I love it. I think that's great. I would imagine you probably have a lot of patriots in there.
There's a lot of people waking up, more and more people are getting it all the time. I'm trying to find that I don't know if I have that reflection. That's a good image to add. I'll add that to the gallery.
One of his face mask. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few of those. Oh, you know what? I do have another one which I can show you. Give me a second. Go ahead. You first.
I don't know. I was just gonna say, yeah, download the app, guys, because I definitely want to connect there. I think that'll be fun. That's great because it looks like you have a lot of content. So like it'll make it a lot easier to go do research. It's all right there. And
it's so much easier because if you Google flat Earth, you end up with nonsense. You end up with all propaganda.
And you know what I found is that it looks like a lot of it's being censored. So I don't even know if I'm gonna get the boot on this video or what's gonna happen.
No, you don't get a boot on this. That some of the other stuff we're talking about, that was close, but we're good.
Okay.
But they don't promote this stuff, and you will have a wiki thing underneath this video that says the flat Earth is an ancient, archaic belief by a bunch of morons.
Belief. That's what.
Right. Right.
Well, so then that right there should get you questioning because I mean, we saw those same type of messages under very well-renowned Nobel Prize winning doctors that were, yeah.
So this is, let me pull this up. This is a spacewalk, and they're showing, the Earth. There's so many things wrong with this. But if you watch carefully on there's a little mirror and you can see the green screen that's behind him.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one before.
It caught the green screen. There it is. All right. So they have these little glitches all the time. Sometimes they remove them. Sometimes they don't care. They just leave them. They leave them up. And then there's a facility called the McCloud facility, I think it's called, where NASA goes. It's a ginormous warehouse where they have all these green screens. They can fake anything. This is being done for a Spider-Man movie, but in a second they'll show you some of the NASA stuff they can do. And when you start to understand how easy they can fake this stuff, this is all just not real. All of it's not real. So when they show us stuff like, when the space shuttle's taking off and landing, they're not showing us real stuff. But when people do see a space shuttle take off, they're 10, 15 miles away and they're watching something take off. Don't get me wrong there. It's just not a big ship with people on it.
So I don't know if I would imagine something about it, but remember when they had a teacher and they had like regular people that were supposed to go into a moon landing? Didn't that rocket supposedly implode and they all died?
So that was the space shuttle launch. And we're supposed to believe that all of these people died. That was one where they had they wheeled TVs into all the schoolrooms. And so all the kids in America and other places in the world saw it live. Okay. And it blew up. And this was in the 1980s, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. Unfortunately, we found 6 of the 7 astronauts on there have identical twins.
I was going to say, I think I saw something about that.
Yeah.
That they've been identified somewhere else. So
they have identical twins, and none of their twins ever showed up at any of their funerals. Okay. All right. So there's something wrong there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, and again, the space shuttle. So this is the SR-71, right? Pretty aerodynamic, right? Is the space shuttle aerodynamic? Not as aerodynamic as this, right? You even know that. You don't even need to know about it. You know that this is not aerodynamic compared to this. This is less aerodynamic than a 747, if you ask me. It's got all these weird things on it.
Right.
This thing can't go faster than Mach 3.2 or it rips apart from the friction. But this thing can go Mach 33. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
It makes no sense. Thank you for people are like, well, I don't have an engineering degree. You have common sense, and they've convinced you to believe nonsense. Okay, right? So this thing can go 10 times faster than this thing. Give me a break.
Yeah, I wonder about, so kind of back to that extraterrestrial. So I hadn't heard that before, that it was outlying outside of the Arctic wall or whatever you call that wall. Those Tic Tac things, is that what you were going to show me with the submarine, or is that something else?
No, I was just while you were talking, this is just showing, atmosphere in a vacuum versus a submarine, which is, thick metal walls. And none of it makes any sense once you understand the nonsense that they're telling us. I mean, the space shuttle is a tin can, right? A couple of years ago, they talked about there was a hole in the space shuttle in the space station. You remember that? It got a little mini meteorite hole, and they showed us. They even showed us on the on the news. It got a little hole, and they show us this hole, which happened to look like the exact same hole on a record album from a band, years prior. It's the same hole, but they told us that, and then they fixed it with like gum and duct tape. Right? They're looking for this hole, right? And then they patched it with duct tape temporarily. Okay. There's I just saw a story recently where a flight, a jet was flying at like 40, a private jet was flying at like 45,000 feet. And they lost a little bit of air pressure, and everyone in the jet died. Everyone suffocated and died instantly. And the plane was just flying on autopilot. Military interceptors came, and they were flying with it, and they could see that the windshield was iced over, and then it just kept on going until it ran out of fuel, and then it crashed. And that was just from a slight depressurization. Well, in space, the vacuum is way worse than 45,000 feet. And we got a hole, and then they're showing us this. Here's the thing. People say, what about whistleblowers? Here's a fucking whistle. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. Here's a whistleblower, right? There's a hole. They use the same image from a record album from years before, and nobody gives a crap. Okay? Not nobody. The people that are awake give a crap. The sleeping people like, I can't see that.
Well, wait
I can't
a minute.
See that.
That makes me think of the Astro World and the Bart Simpson. Like, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Can you explain that?
Wait, which thing?
So, the Astro World, what happened there? And I mean, that was a huge satanic ritual, and or at least that's the theory, right? Yes. And I guess there was a Bart Simpson, or the Simpsons actually had like several years earlier a cartoon that predicted it, basically.
Yeah, some of that. Actually, I looked into some of that, and some of the stuff that was in there is definitely pointing towards that. But then they added some fake stuff into that to kind of taint the story. So I haven't dug into it that deep. But more recently, South Park had a COVID. I believe they aired it on Thanksgiving. Had a COVID one. And they showed people going crazy in the streets, and then a red car ran over a bunch of people on the street. And literally that 3 days later, that red car ran over all these people in the street. I forget what they happened, like right at the same time, right? The red car came out first on the cartoon. Amazing. So why do they do that? People are like, well, why would they do that? Why would they have the kids from Sandy Hook singing at their own funeral? All right. Well, do you know about that? At the Super Bowl? No, at the Super Bowl with Jennifer Hudson, there was 26 kids from Sandy that were honoring, they were older kids, honoring all the kids. And if you look at them, all 26 match up with all of the victims, just older versions of them. Why would they do that? Why would they stick it in our faces like that? And it's literally a spiritual war where everyone's taking a moment of silence, listening to these kids sing in memory of something that was traumatical. Is that a word? Traumatizing to the whole world. And you're staring in the faces of the kids that you think have moved on. And people are like, I can't believe that. And I say, find me one of those kids. There's those 26 kids that sang at the Super Bowl are all missing. None of them can be found. None of them have been seen, heard from. No one knows their names. FOIA requests, you can't get them. I know we just took a huge pivot off of Flat Earth, but the deception in this world is massive. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, stoplookthink.com, hoaxes, Sandy, and find the video with the thumbnail of the kids singing at the Super Bowl. You'll see.
Yeah. When we're done, like if you don't mind, send the links to all this stuff, and I'll post that too. All of the app and everything. So, but I don't know. I know in the very beginning we were talking about Schumann resonance. I don't know that we talked about it during the interview, because the question I have about that is if the two interrelate, where this truth is, it's just all being exposed, and it can't be, because I think that's part of, from my understanding, the satanic, they have to put it out there first, whatever they're going to do. Like that's part of the ritual or something.
I'm with you 100%. I believe that they always have to tell us. They're not allowed to set a bear trap in the woods and have it completely hidden. They got to put a sign saying, hey, there's a bear trap under the leaves. Be careful. Right.
Yeah.
So they always tell us what they're doing because they can't break our free will. And people are like, well, I can't believe that. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. They know the rules of this world. We are here. We're born free, and nobody can take that from us unless we willingly give it away. Unless when somebody says, you stay home, you close your business, and you go, yes, sir. Well, that's your own fault. You don't have to do that. Okay. All of this stuff that's going on in the world is the only reason it's working is because people are complying. If everyone literally stopped complying right now, it's over. It's completely over. And if everybody woke up to the flat earth, then they'd all of a sudden see through the veil. They'd see through this apocalypse. Okay. That's happening. And it would be over the same day. It would be over instantly. What if nobody listened to the government? What could they do? They could do nothing. What if all of the police and the military, they go, they go, this is bullshit. I'm out. Well, it's over. They've lost everything. The way they control us is they have us fighting with each other, us controlling each other, us just agreeing to all of their nonsense.
Yeah. Well, so I think you still have these gatekeepers that are the little shop workers. Like, I mean, I walked into a store the other day, and I walked all around. I used the restroom. The whole dining room is filled with people with no mask. I go up to the cashier, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you can't pay for that without a mask."
Then I would walk out without paying.
Well, I did. I walked out, but I was just like.
It's amazing. We have a big issue here where the only kids, all the kids in our schools are masked up, and it's horrible. People don't understand what it's doing. It's literally taking away their humanity. And but then the people that are fighting to keep these policies in place, they're out at the local bars partying. The first selectman's out at the bar, crowded, spitting on each other, no mask, no nothing. So my suggestion is, why don't we just put restaurant tables in the school? That way the kids won't have to wear masks.
There you go. Yeah. So I somebody had this great, it's like, saying, well, no peeing in the pool, but only in that area.
Right.
Like, it's okay to pee over there, but anyway.
Yeah. The propaganda is unbelievable. They're hiding. They're censoring everything. Okay. They're censoring, you can't say anything. But Big Bird can say something, this guy, he's the top virologist. He gets censored, but Big Bird and Sanjay Gupta and, you can't say anything online.
Isn't he the doctor that invented, or at least he looks like him, the one that invented the PRP test or whatever the test is?
No, that's a different guy. That's
okay. He looks a lot alike.
Carrie, whatever his name is.
Okay, but that guy came out saying, yeah, but at the site, anything over 25 cycles of whatever it is per minute or whatever makes the whole test invalid, and yet they're still testing people. Like,
you have to be careful what you're saying here. Just be careful.
Not
careful
what, say that.
careful what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. So anyway, so the Schumann resonance, I have to share something really quick because it goes back to part of the conversation we were having about the Twin Towers. I don't know if this is can you see that?
Yep.
Does anyone else think this is weird?
Oh, no, that is, yeah.
Is that real? Did he really have this painting?
You know what? I can't confirm it, but
You've seen this?
I have seen it. I haven't confirmed it, but I don't doubt it. I mean, just look at Podesta's place. He's got, crazy stuff with kids being tortured and stuff, and it's artwork. It's all right there in front of our face. Yeah,
well, crazy. So anyway, now how do I get back to my
you have to go stop screen sharing.
I don't. Oh, there it's at the bottom. Okay. So I do think that just a little bit about the Schumann resonance. I see the measurements on that, but I'm wondering, well, is that accurate either? Is that real information? But basically the concept is that the vibration on the planet is increasing, and because of that, then we as humans, our frequency is also rising.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is known that we are frequency beings. The earth has a frequency. I don't believe that humans can live off of the earth. Okay. I don't believe that we all have to be within this, this field. And again, if you look in the app, you hit the Tataria button, the mud floods button, you're going to see, all sorts of stuff that will blow your mind. All of these old buildings, these are frequency generators harvesting energy out of the air. They were healing centers. And then after the reset, we took them over and turned them into churches and mosques and all sorts of stuff. And we don't understand what these places really were and how this world really worked.
Yeah. So back up, the reset, I think I missed something. So I've heard that many times, and that I even heard from, I forget who it was, but he was Max Egan. I don't know. I think he was.
Max is great.
Yeah, he was talking about that this has happened like at least 11 times or more, that they keep resetting us, or I'm not exactly sure what that means, if we're in back to some sort of simulation or what that's about. So
yeah, so I mean, it seems to be a reset every 100 years. In 1920 there was the Spanish flu. Everybody was wearing face diapers and getting the jabba jabba do, and it didn't fare well. There was a mass population die off there, and then in 1820 there was the cholera. 1720 the plague. Right, every 100 years, the same thing happens again and again.
It is actually exactly 100. I didn't realize that.
And then if you look at population growth charts and even use the most conservative numbers, if our history is what they tell us, there should be trillions, if not quadrillions of people. Okay. But there's not. None of this makes any sense. So our entire history is a lie. And once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. Well, I think one last thing on this, and then we probably need to wrap it up. The question kind of then becomes, looking at this history, like, well, then who's the they, and how have they been around for so long to continue to do this to us, the
I'll give you my
minions here.
What we talked about who that they are. These are the royal families.
Yeah.
And one thing that they know is about keeping their bloodlines pure, right? So, I'm not telling you to go out and, marry within your family, but I believe that there's a big deception there. There's a huge deception about bloodlines. And I believe that these people that are running the earth, they know about genetic memory, and they know that if they keep their bloodlines pure, I believe they come back and they know their past. They're reborn, and they don't have amnesia like we do. They know all of their history because they're
yeah. So that's very interesting because there's no doubt like this, I think most people just woke up with this most recent jabberdoodle, but the thing is they've been giving kids the moment they're born. Dr. Bernie was telling me that they actually put droplets in our eyes that has some kind of metal, silver. And so why would we be doing that if we're...
One thing they do is they put that in baby's eyes. One thing it does is the baby can't see his mother anymore. That most important bonding moment, looking into his mother's face, baby can't see. And then the medicine or the poison that they're putting in their eyes has all sorts of other effects. And then usually before they hand the baby to the mother, they inject it with several vaccines. Okay.
Well, that was what I was going to say. So if we're injected the moment we're born, then no wonder that we've fallen asleep to the greater essence of who we really are.
I totally agree. And I believe that the Jabba Jabba Do program, including all of them from birth out, is to disconnect us from creation. It is to stop us from connecting to that source energy. Could you imagine? Like, I know many kids, not many, I know a bunch of kids that are basically, they have zero, they were born at home, they have zero, jabs. And these are the smartest, brightest, healthiest kids I've ever seen. Their eyes, you look into their eyes, and they say the eyes are a window to the soul. It's unbelievable, right? But a big pharma has never done a study comparing VEED to unVEED, and they're just using, when you mention VEED to somebody, they're like, "Oh, you're an anti-V," and literally they go into their programming, and it's absolutely ridiculous, right? So if this lost history, this reset thing is new to you, in the app, go to Mud Floods, or not even in the app, go to the John Levy channel, JONLEVI. But he's linked, lots of his videos are in there. And when you're going through those playlists, if you hit a video that, wow, this is really good, subscribe to that channel, and then you'll have a lifetime. You'll have tons of other information.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Like, share.
Yep.
Oh my God, I could keep talking to you forever. Like,
right. I mean,
I'd love to hang out again.
Yeah, I do have to go, but just, when you start looking, horse and buggy time, and we're building buildings like this, and this isn't even, these aren't even the spectacular ones. This is all, these are people that are inheriting this world after the people that built it left.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
And not like, I was in Peru doing the Incan Trail, and I was looking at these things that the steps that they built and everything, and living out in nature for a week. And I was like, there is absolutely no way that there wasn't somebody here before us, or aliens, right?
Oh my God. When you just look at the architecture, of the past, these are energy harvesters. Okay. You don't build this in a time where, you're struggling with horse and buggy and whatnot. All of our history is a lie, but I do have to go.
Okay.
Any final thoughts?
Just that I definitely would love for you to come back. You're awesome. I love it. I hope that everyone got some value out of today. And thank you for sharing your app. I've already downloaded it.
Yeah, check it out. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. And it'll teach you so much. Just go read the reviews in the App Store, in the Google Play Store, and I believe it's going to be on Amazon starting tomorrow or whatever. This QR code or the link that you'll put in the description will take you right there. And check it out. And then most importantly, use the friend finder to contact people near you. Check out the people near you, because every blue dot on there is an awake, aware, awesome person. Talk about a dating app. This is the one, because every blue dot, male or female, is going to be your best friend. It's going to be your best friend.
And you're going to, and I would assume that they haven't been jabberdoodled.
I would say 99. Well,
yeah,
there might be a few of them in there.
Some purebloods here.
And listen, there might be a few of them in there that were forced for whatever reason, life circumstance or whatever. Yeah. But these people are awake and aware. I would say it would be pretty difficult to find anybody that at least did it willingly. Or I would say no one did it willingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, or just totally unconsciously. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I love you. You're awesome. Thank you everybody who joined us. I love you guys too. Yeah, I'll see if I can coordinate another time for you to come back.
All right. We can talk about that. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.